Last open mic of the year? Oh, don't worry, there's many more years to come. I'm going to go ahead and get this all started off. This is our poetry and storytelling portion of the event from 4 to 6 p.m. And then at 6 p.m. we will switch to music and rock and roll all night long. So I'm going to start off, seeing as how this is poetry, with one of the probably most well-known poems ever.
Right before Christmas.
Yes.
I don't know.
Unpredictable. For once. Okay. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. Oh, this is a different version. All right. Unpredictable at last. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the house, to the courses they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. I know what that's like. And he was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He soon spoke a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all his stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside on his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." All right, well, thank you very much. So, and it doesn't look like we have a sign-up sheet here, so do we have any order planned out yet? Thom and Scott, would you like to come up and start off? We'll get the beautiful, wonderful Louise up here in just a moment. All right.
This Saturday is winter solstice, and winter solstice will be celebrated all over the place, at least at the tea rooms at Full English and up in Dripping Springs, at the Osmic, and also at the Austin Poetry Society, also at Bookwoman. Bookwoman's having a whole winter solstice reading on the afternoon. This is the Guardian newspaper gardening column done by Paul, and it's dedicated to the winter solstice, the effect on nature. Does anyone remember nature?
I do.
It was the dead robin that marked year's end for me. On the eve of the winter solstice, cutting evergreens for decorations, the body of a robin fell at my feet. His wings held slivers of ice. He had one eye open, one closed, feet clenched. His red breast, messed up down one side, remained defiantly aflame. I held his body in one hand in the vain hope that warmth might revive him, but his ferocious life had gone, and his body felt ominously heavy. In one mythological cycle at this time of year, the Oak King, symbolized by the wren, is killed by the Holly King, symbolized by the New Year robin on St. Stephen's Day. So what happens when the Holly King dies instead? Who killed Cock Robin? All the birds of the air fell a-sighing and a-sobbing when they heard the bell toll for poor Cock Robin. It's not surprising that we cluster our myths and festivals at the back end of the year. They either warn of the future or distract us from the weirdness of these quick, thin days which flicker into history. A few days later, the rain came in fitful storms. On the evening of Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, when the robin is supposed to kill the wren, I walked up through the woods to the top of the edge. The moon, waxing towards the first full moon of the new year, shone in puddles along the squelchy path. The rain stopped, skies cleared and the wind began to build. I could hardly stand as a huge burst of wind made the edges growl, hurtling towards the orange glow of Telford away to the north. Throughout the night the wind battered the edge under of clear, starlit sky. These are strange days indeed. Paul Evans, Guardian Newspaper.
I like that better.
Okay. All right, Louise, come on up, please. Louise, please.
Louise, please.
Louise, please.
I've also never heard, geez, Louise.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm messy Jessie, so it's okay.
That's good.
Okay, this is a brand new one.
Yeah.
I have not spoken this one anywhere.
Whoa.
This is the premiere.
First release.
Okay, and this is a poem of epic Greek, ancient Greek pith and all that sort of thing. Several years ago, a friend of mine and her son had a dog named Scooby-Doo. Looked nothing like the Scooby-Doo in the cartoons. This was a short but large black, almost cocker spaniel of a dog, but with short legs. It was like an ottoman that walked around the house. Good dog, though. This is called Scooby and the Hideous Object. A gift it was on Christmas morn to the mongrel Scooby-Doo from a young man and his mother, a squeaky toy, green and new. The object shook the very soul of the mixed-bag shaggy hound, who, with yelp and bark, fled living room in a terror sudden and profound. "Oh, horrid thing born of Hades' realm, why do you taunt good Scooby so? Why squeak thee with a harpy's screech whenever trodden under toe? Must you take the form of a pea pod, each pea a mocking garish face? Must you lie as though in ambush when Scooby stumbles on your space? Thou sextet of hideous homunculi, each bearing a frightful sardonic grin, get thee hence to nether regions away from noble Scooby's den. Oh, Scooby-Doo, your home is safe now from that evil talisman. It is hidden safely from your sight, at least until you're bad again."
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Louise. That was wonderful. It was such an honor to get to hear it for the very first time.
Yeah.
Now we have some original stylings by Scott.
beginning of an open mic always reminds me of going to port. Not the incoming port, but the outgoing port. The early time in the night when you're packing all your clothes, being sure your socks are accounted for. In the morning, when the poets first get there, and they take their baggage and they put them in the car and they head down to the port in the main cities. And there's traffic everywhere, there's distant sounds. Not too much attention being paid their way as inside they're thinking of what will come on this journey of a night. We have 2 hours trip. And many people will board the boat. Some will meet us eye to eye. And others will find things that they must do. But all's good and well, because we're on a sturdy ship. And it's being mastered by hostess and baristas and bartenders who know what they're doing. And in the meantime, we'll just kick back and we'll say a few things that mean something to us, and they might spark some interest in you. You might say, hey, that sounds like something I went through or something I did. What an exciting moment to begin a night, a voyage across seas, to hear things we've never heard before, to think thoughts we've never thought before. I'm so excited, I want to get started. But there's a basket of fries calling me. Thanks.
Oh, no, they're not.
So do you guys know Santa Claus is coming to town?
Oh, man, wing it.
Well, I only have one, so you can
Those things.
have a very good budget.
Okay.
Just 1 second.
So that was his Santa Claus.
I am Santa. Not you, Santa. Who are you? It's sort of like that. They were more excited to show the because they got.
Oh, you know that bit in the Marx Brothers film?
Yeah, Louise and I said.
The Groucho and Chico are talking about this contract. So what's this? That's Santa Claus. Says, oh no, there ain't no Santa Claus.
So you would.
All right. There's no kids in here right now, so I can tell you this. I had to be 2 mythical creatures in one day once. The Easter Bunny, and then that night the Tooth Fairy. In one day. It's amazing. I'll tell you my secret maybe. You'll have to stick around though. You better watch out, better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming to town. With little tin horns and little toy drums, Rudy Toot and Rummy Tum Tums. Santa Claus is coming to out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming to town. Just the top part, from the top. Well, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, thanks for letting me practice that out on you guys. You did wonderful, you did wonderful. Yes, you did. Oh, you kept me straight on track. You did great.
Okay.
Thom and Scott?
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Whoa.
I like Christmas presents, the present tense, the past perfect, and the imperfect tense, and Boy Scout tense, and Girl Guide tense. I like Christmas because it's colourful and it's full of turkeys and chickens and things to eat. Sweet, you know, it's good. And big socks hanging around everywhere. Santa left his socks, he must have huge feet. You think about it, look at the size of those socks. The trees, they're Australian trees. No worries, I'm used to down under the trees. Yeah, that's alright. So, there is no Santa Claus. This is about the time. About you. What about you, Ray? He had been slim, starved, a student, smiling always, sunshine and sorrows. He said inside every fat man, the thousands of diet plans. Hunger's more than physical, spiritual, emotional and psychic. When you need a bowl of chips, you gotta really find it. It's a scratch that can't be itched, a caravan on an island with no gas. Isolation fed by those lacking sound, sight, vision, sense, perspective, history and context. Because when Buddha came, he gave away all his books and records. When Lao Tzu came, he gave away his poetry and hobbies. When Zen returned, he gave away his past lives. Dispersal, dandruff, disposable, distance. Anything as material as a crinkle link reminded him of death. Depression was an old suit, emotional straitjacketed. Rooms outside, cigarette smoke addiction. Maybe he thought if I could write this down, it too would leave me. As she did, with nothing as his close companion. Then nothing left, and he had nothing leave. He had nothing, and then she left. The rates of departures compounds, accelerates, even to name there is more randomness than infantry. Nelson Mandela, Peter O'Toole, Billy Jack, Jean Fontaine, some known only by the roles they played. Musicians age and decay. They're half life, half light in the twilight grave. Always remember the light they gave. We were young and stumbling, they were brave. Loss makes liars of all slaves. By stepping up, rap gods over rock stoners, generationally defined by tattoos, implants, piles of broken wounded dumped like trash on city streets. City disease, country distance, word, ants, bite, awakening silence. Call their name, no one responds. Perhaps in some hospice or rest home our elders are discussing grave topics. Maybe get the Blues Brothers back together again, on the road again with Willie Nelson. Already on the TV I can see it. Can't you see it, Jessie? Retrospectives of 2013, talking about what happened, talking about the hurricanes and the massacres and typhoons and the shootings, the bombings with a light humour touch, cat or dog story before the weather change report. Now we talk endings, even though beginnings, Janus, mask us from the ambivalence of fall into winter. Tonight there's a full moon above us. Streets with begging, Santa's role reversal. What is to be done at such unique times? either recreate Earth as Eden or Armageddon, either seek solitary spots like this one in space for habitation, or reclaim space and time for overpopulation, either respond to data or deny and defy the obvious. I walk outside tonight, I see stars, planets, one huge moon above shining. What else is there to do, Jessie, but love what really is?
Well, there's nothing else to do. You just gotta love what there really is, right?
Yep. I said that.
Love is free,
Yeah.
just like hugs.
Yeah, how do you do?
Yep.
Have those feel cancer?
Louise, come on up here.
Hey, Louise.
This time of year, you'll probably see a lot of versions of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And there's some really good ones, and there's some kind of funny ones and silly ones. You know, Mickey Mouse has done A Christmas Carol, and so have the Muppets. The Muppets, yes. But these are all dramatizations, and you hear some of the dialogue, and you know the plot. But you rarely get to hear the actual words, the descriptions by Charles Dickens. And I'd like to read some of that tonight. This is at a part where the Ghost of Christmas Past is showing Ebenezer Scrooge his old life when he was younger. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door and asked Scrooge if he knew it. "No, it," said Scrooge. "I was apprenticed here." They went in. At sight of an old gentleman in a Welsh wig sitting behind such a high desk that if he had been 2 inches taller, he must have knocked his head against the ceiling, Scrooge cried in great excitement, "Why, it's old Fezziwig! Bless his heart, it's Fezziwig alive again!" Old Fezziwig laid down his pen and looked up at the clock, which pointed to the hour of 7. He rubbed his hands, adjusted his capacious waistcoat, laughed all over himself from his shoes to his organ of benevolence, and called out in a comfortable, oily, rich, fat, jovial voice, "Yo-ho there, Ebenezer, Dick!" Scrooge's former self, now grown a young man, came briskly in, accompanied by his fellow apprentice. "Dick Wilkins, to be sure," said Scrooge to the ghost. "Bless me, yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Poor Dick, dear, dear." "Yo-ho, my boys," said Fezziwig, "no more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer, let's have the shutters up," cried old Fezziwig, with a sharp clap of his hands, "before a man can say Jack Robinson." You wouldn't believe how those two fellows went at it. They charged into the street with the shutters, 1, 2, 3, had them up in their places, 4, 5, 6, barred them and pinned them, 7, 8, 9, and came back before you could have got to 12, panting like racehorses. "Hilly-ho!" cried old Fezziwig, skipping down from the high desk with wonderful agility. "Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hilly-ho, Dick! Cheer up, Ebenezer!" Clear away. There was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away or couldn't have cleared away with old Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. Every movable was packed off as if it were dismissed from public life for evermore. The floor was swept and watered. The lamps were trimmed. Fuel was heaped upon the fire. And the warehouse was as snug and warm and dry and bright a ballroom as you would desire to see upon a winter's night. In came a fiddler with a music book and went up to the lofty desk and made an orchestra of it and tuned like 50 stomach aches. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast substantial smile. In came the 3 Miss Fezziwigs, beaming and lovable. In came the 6 young followers whose hearts they broke. In came all the young men and women employed in the business. In came the housemaid with her cousin, the baker. In came the cook with her brother's particular friend, the milkman. In came the boy from over the way, who was suspected of not having bored enough from his master, trying to hide himself behind the girl from next door, but one who was proved to have had her ears pulled by her mistress. In they all came, one after another, some shyly, some boldly, some gracefully, some awkwardly, some pushing, some pulling. In they all came, anyhow and everyhow. Away they all went, 20 couple at once, hands half round and back again the other way, down the middle and up again, round and round in various stages of affectionate grouping. Old top couple always turning up in the wrong place, new top couple starting off again. As soon as they got there, all top couples at last, and not a bottom one to help them. When this result was brought about, old Fezziwig, clapping his hands to stop the dance, cried out, "Well done!" And the fiddler plunged his hot face into a pot of porter, especially provided for that purpose. But scorning rest upon his reappearance, he instantly began again, though there were no dancers yet, as if the other fiddler had been carried home exhausted on a shutter, and he were a brand new man, resolved to beat him out of sight or perish. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was almost getting to a point there. So
I was listening. I didn't
oh,
even.
thank you.
You heard me listening. That's
did
the
hear
trick.
you listening.
That's active listening. That's proactive listening.
Ooh, I listen loudly there. Scott.
Scott! Yay! That extra hour. We dressed up,
Yeah, it's good for me. It's John wants you can hear it, so I can't sound. Oh, you mean like that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, it's okay.
Pick yourself.
It's good to hear every once in a while, not every once in a while, I mean, but as often as poets want to, it's good to hear them read things that were written yesterday or 200 years ago. It's not often we get somebody to read things from thousands of years ago, but I guess that's doable too.
Of course it is.
Speaking of the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Aeneid, that might be worth, that might be worth resurrecting. But one of the nice things about it is, as the reader is channeling the voice of the writer from 100 AD or 1850, you begin to see through their eyes and what they're telling you that the struggles that Dickens had to make light of hardship were the same ones the average Joe today has. They sound a little bit different, the way they use their ups and downs, talking about dance, I believe. But the thrills are the same too. The thrill is to go to sleep on the night, not before Christmas, but the night before the night before Christmas. And if you keep doing that, maybe tonight's the night before Christmas. And there are those in the room who could care less about Christmas, which are okay too, I don't mind. It's just the spirit. Come on, get into the spirit. The spirit we're talking about, as I see it, it's the same spirit that some of us share every day anyway. But this gives us a good opportunity to talk about it, which is give people the things they want. If your daughter wants to go to the park, take her to the park. But by all means, one thing you should definitely do for Christmas, give yourself something. And I don't mean go down to Hellsberg Jewelry and buy a ring or the flea market or something. But as an example, for my birthday, I gave myself the right to be unprepared. That was a pretty good one. One year for Christmas, I gave myself the right to let myself off the hook. That was a good one too. And those sort of Christmas presents, they come around when you least expect it. You'll be having a struggle or feeling sort of controlly. You can say, wait a second, I don't have to do this. 2 Christmases ago, I said I could be unprepared. Let's see what the guitar has to say about it. It agrees. So, in that light, when you're giving yourself something for Christmas, think about what you can give those you love for Christmas. What they want more than anything else is for you to hear them and be fully present in the moment.
Yay, Jessie! Yes!
Oh, more thingy? I'll go to
Let it snow, Louise.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But the fire. So
Okay, so this song's a bit of wishful thinking from Texas. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we know a place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Well, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping, and the lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Well, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Do 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 do, la da 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 da, and da 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 da, da 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 da. One more time now. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we know a place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Oh, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping, and the lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Well, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Thanks, guys. Thanks for helping me out.
Well, that's what you call it?
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. There's safety in numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally like that.
Tom, coming back up here, would you
Okay,
please?
sure. Happy. Scott, yeah. Come on, yes, please.
yes.
I tried talking to myself, but I didn't listen. Yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to say, and that's really disappointing. So I figured I'd try and find someone else, and I did, and that was him, because he plays. But I think about this season we're in, of interminable darkness and the Hopi prophecies, you know. So this is one you never heard fresh. It's called Sashua Sahar, which is the name for the season we're going through now. Ancient Hopi prophecies of the Blue Star Kachina remind me of San Antonio's Blue Star Cafe. Purification to fifth dimensional consciousness, accompanied by signs in our landscape like crop circles, Pavahutas, Nakasuku, Sampaku, Idahawk. Because the Blue Star Kachina will be followed by a red dwarf star leading to a red dawn, and Nibiru may be that phantom planet. The poles might reverse, magnetic fields realign, massive changes come from such an interaction. Purification starts now, and we are all in this process of learning how to align with the inevitable changes that occur when solar flares and red dwarfs spin into our little orbits. Stressmas, solstice, Saturnalia, shopping, bills pile up like demands, plastic trees illuminated. Why? You know all about it. Confluence of myths, gather singing choirs of Christmas carols like this. Depressed, suicidal, homeless can't find a stable in Bethlehem. It's cool, cold, dark, light by stars, night by police sirens. Valet parking near Fatima and Lourdes, hungry for visions, crowds with candles. Inside is light and heat and forgiveness for politicians. Outside, shadows. Inside, Photoshop digital family pics cropped. Outside, mud files. Cover the corpses with trails of light, huge utility bills. Once, volunteers at the Absurd would decorate and festoon for free. Now packaging and postage comes extra. 'Tis the season. In this darkness we are always told to celebrate light. Awaiting arrival of Santa Claus on aisle 4, shoppers. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very cool. We did before about the oak and the holly, the battle between the oak and the holly. However, there is always a winner, and the winner for this season is the apple. Okay.
We're trying to figure that one out.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the Hey! Well, that was. Hey!
All right, thank you guys. That's fantastic. Louise, come on up here. Louise. Woo.
Well, the Trail of Lights went away for a few years, and it came back last year and year before last.
Is it happening this year?
It is happening this year.
It is. Okay, I didn't
As far as I know.
It is.
Good. I want to go.
But there was also an event every year on 37th Street where one block made the strangest, the least commercial, the least religious, of course, Christmas decorations. And I really miss it. I found an ironic angel on 37th Street. I found an ironic angel on 37th Street at Christmastide not long ago. I wasn't looking for an angel. I usually disdain Mesopotamian mythological beings. But it was filled with light and illuminated its share of fence and shrub and sidewalk from the dark. I missed the holidays on 37th Street and returned there each solstice just to see if the neighbors on that block between Cedar Street and Guadalupe have had the wherewithal to deck their houses and yards and lawns with the most non-Christmassy paraphernalia in Christendom, Jewry or Islam. It was a tour much fresher than the Trail of Lights lost on the dreary carload of gawkers just driving through. You had to get out and walk to appreciate the pure creativity and artistry shed on each house on that brilliant block metastasized to the connected Cedar Street. Front yards were festooned with choicest kitsch, from porch to tree to driveway. A motorcycle might be bound in luminance. A Halloween skeleton might wear a Santa cap. A toilet seat might serve as a decorous wreath. A cross-street necklace might shine from telephone pole to pole. The house in the middle on the north side was where the tradition got its start. You could tour the property fore to aft, circling the merry dwelling, Not a religious or commercial icon would you find on that blinking wall. Displays were set off by black tarp siding, but there would be cactus Christmas bulbs, and those of cowboy boots, and pill bottles glowing from within. Their electricity meter spun like a compact disc, while a plastic pail begged, "Please donate for utilities." The couple in the house where the 37th Street lights began moved away, and the tradition began its slow decline. I visited there the other day. The clever pagan fringe element was gone. One solitary suburban frontage showed the usual Santa and reindeer set from Just Anywhere USA. And there was no ironic angel on 37th Street. Thank you. I read this not long ago, and there was a man in the audience who was one of the founders of that tradition. And he verified everything I say.
All right. You want to go up now, or do you want to wait till next rotation? Oh, well, Scott's next, actually. Would you like to go up after Scott? Okay, come on.
All right, that was the fabulous Louise, and now we have the fabulous Scott coming up. For those of you,
Welcome aboard.
for those of you that don't know, this is our storytelling and poetry segment of Freddie's Place Open Mic Night, and we will be doing this solid until 6 p.m. and then we will transfer over to music.
This is not music, this is visual art.
Yeah, sure.
No, with this.
Oh, yeah.
James Franco said about his performance at, what was it that he hosted, the Oscars or something like that? He said it was tuxedo sleep art.
That's very good.
Yeah, I like that.
He's right.
So this is Scott's art.
Yeah. When was Scott out?
Did a little brainstorming while I had some time off. I mean, not like for Christmas or the holidays, but since it was my turn to get up here. And I've been thinking, I think I know, I have an idea for a Christmas present for everybody. Because I might get back to this later in the song, but I'm not sure. But there are those who have no loved ones.
How are you?
And if I don't get back to it later in the song, maybe later in the evening, I'll talk about them too. But, so the ones I want to talk about now are all of us who have loved ones. And that means we love them, they love us back, and in the middle we have that doorway called love or truth. So I was thinking, if you want to give them something, I mean, if you want to really surprise them, got a week to do this, so less than that, I guess it's 6 days, and it might take some work, it might take some time, you might have to actually put some effort into it, but you could go into maybe your desk or your drawer, or steal some off the printer at work if you don't have any paper, but get a piece of paper, set aside some time. It might take, I don't know, 5 minutes, depending on how in tune you are with yourself. Or it might take all 6 days if you're kind of clogged up a little bit. And then sit down, get a pen, a good pen, one you like, one you feel comfortable with. Not one that's too expensive, but one you can buy again sometime, because this might be something you want to do again next year. Get that pen, sit down in a comfy spot, maybe in the park over at Silker, or at Freddy's, in the patio, or in here. And think, what do I really, and that's a key word there, because reality's slippery. You never know exactly what it is. Sometimes it's one thing, and sometimes it's another, and sometimes it's just what somebody else tells you it is. Which, in the majority of cases, is BS. So, you take something you really want to say to them. And this can't be as simple as I love you, because that's sort of, you can get that on a greeting card. Hallmark does that all the time. But think about what they mean to you. what it is that makes that person important. What is it, like for example, that makes Jessie important to me? I would tell Jessie she's important to me because she's an inspiration and she gives me a space to be myself, and I really appreciate it and love you for it. Jessie, thank you. Or others in the audience. So take some time, get your pen, and if you're blessed and it works out right, you'll be able to put it in a nice, pretty envelope. On that, you can spend as much money as you want. But write the truth. Oh, that's the hard part. Be vulnerable. Say what things mean to you. You have all the blessings I can possibly give you. That it works out. At the end of it, what you might have is somebody on the other side reading that letter, and they'll look at you, and you'll have something pass between you called knowledge. They'll know what's inside you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Are you ready, David?
Maybe. Oh, he's always about
All right, thank you, Scott. That was very true. It's often scary being truthful, putting your heart out there, doing stuff you wrote yourself. Oh, I much prefer doing stuff other people wrote, because if I mess that up, hey, you know. But then the good thing about doing stuff that you did is if you mess it up, nobody knows the difference.
And who knows, you might find out something you don't know about.
That's true. Absolutely. All right, David Lester Young, teach me something I don't know about myself.
Moaning and groaning the holidays away.
Yeah? Really?
Mothers cry. Mothers cry inside the womb of creation that they have been blessed within this miracle of conception, where a baby grows within their mother's love, that a baby then wails aloud a newborn presence, wherein the umbilical cord cut, it separates mother from babies. Mothers cry that thrill of the first breastfeeding, remembering the first solid foods, those funny food faces baby make, remembering their first turn becoming a crawl, that then starts to walk, that then soon begins to talk. Mother's cry feels the first bumps and bruises, that first cold or sign of the flu, putting layers on of clothing to shield them from all harm, where too soon they grow mom independent, mothers becoming shadows as hidden garden angels, sensing with mother intuition, and mothers do cry at their babies' weddings. Cosmic Austin biorhythmic synchronization. Austin biorhythmic sensations migrate love lyrics that drift sailing soft earth and harmonics. Tune into that mental chill bomb bearing celestial currents calm, where life vibrates a special tune within natural flowing celestial harmonics. A quill rain of pure tranquility flying high inside sensual peace. Flutter warm heartbeats rooted deep within medicinal healing. When earth campfire hearth does grow to gravitate memory embers in warm cuddling sensation, rippling smile of musical levity. Therapy comforting the soul, where musical notes synchronize a divine love melody, adrift, awesome love proportion. Ingrained the mellow sounds of Mother Nature surrounding, those sensual mental flights given butterfly rainbow wings, reverberating aloft natural insight, whereas dancing kites we prance this lyrical verse among swaying with wind breezes, blossoming wildflower fragrances, wherein the mass circle of humanity would complete the campfire celebration, linking together hand in hand, sharing Mother Nature's offering in this cosmic Thanksgiving. Vintage bouquet. Wilt thou, flower of vintage bouquet, within your poetic persona, that has weathered affluent, aging so majestic within a vintage bouquet, where writers wrinkle thoughts that are set adrift poetic perfection, sensing sensual solitude in a rhyme-wrapped package, sharing a time-warped peaceful presence, poetry's wildflower blossom, so pure inside the tranquil heart, where inside the quill harmony, heartbeats are set aflutter, livid imagery, prancing in reflective reflections of lyrical composition that composes a poet's soul. To be that inspired, free-spirited poet, it will take path less taken, who will challenge the status quo within an inherited independence creed that will never surrender a poet's free will, but demonstrates the true grit precision of PowerPoint penetration pronunciation in the poetic mastery of vocal vocabulary that makes vintage wine that savors poetry. The greatest gift a poet has is to create seedling from within the mind that transplants into readers where it germinates to sprout creative roots within another generation that will age with poetic pruning where they create another vintage bouquet. Thank you.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Are you? Too late.
Oh,
You
yeah.
singing? Are you singing next round?
We gotta sing. We gotta sing.
Yeah.
We're singing Christmas carols.
Yeah. Carols. Jessie sings on Christmas.
Yes, I'm taking this opportunity to practice my Christmas songs. Thank you so much. So, chances are we're not going to have a white Christmas, but that doesn't stop me from dreaming. That's probably the only place I'll see a white Christmas in Texas is in my dreams. Although I did see an ice storm on Christmas Eve here about 10 years ago.
People skidded on motorcycle all over the place.
Yeah, I had a couple job interviews, and I went out and all that just to find the businesses closed. I was so disappointed. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Yep. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry joining along. It makes it so much more fun like that. Okay. Thom.
Oh, yeah.
Come on over.
Oh, yeah, sure.
See, that's the fun part about playing these ones, is everyone knows them, and so we all get to be together for the holidays.
We murdered Christmas. We were there when we killed Christmas. Who were there? Who were there?
That was me.
Robert Frost. Anyone heard of Robert Frost?
I like
He's a
Yes.
cool guy. He's chill, right?
Right.
But he's all about snow. There's no snow in Texas.
No.
I prefer West Indies, man. West Indies, where there's a lot of sort of warmth and beaches and there's sort of little weeds growing all around the place. Nice green here. Despite Robert Frost, I prefer the warmth of Derek Walcott. More than chill reminders of winter illness with coughs and colds, goose pimple skin, and we must bundle blankets to keep warm. Prefer indoors to wild winds that strip skin to thin. Give me hot tea and chats by fireside. No snow nor ice nor roads of Mopac mush slush. Freeze is not us. We want peace, prosperity and warmth. Beam us into tropical sunshine dimensions. These may be wintry seasons still. From chill we will be soon warmed into greener spring. Tonight, white full moon is calling. All will grow again in cycles warming. Come sun, your time for life is here and now. Come grow bright and brilliant in your heated light. Celebrate your seasons fruitfully. May wind-blown apples carelessly gift you with a sweetness ancient as pollination. Bees and apple trees have a relationship as mutually beneficial as our marketing. We are as American as apple pie, yet that apple came from Kazakhstan. Made its way with pilgrims, bees and travelers around our world and back again. We see an apple tree in full bloom. Varieties abound in every region, but blessed and blessing, it's always apple season. Time for another apple howling. Ow, ow! Well, that was a great howl, wasn't it? Ow, ow, ow! That's what you do, you howl during apple season. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Well, I have to learn these customs.
Yeah, customs.
Whoa!
I haven't even got our customs down.
Customs?
Well, I got shoes on and a shirt, so that's a good start.
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
That's correct. Louise, come on up here, please.
Yes.
So I wonder if you walk in with no pants, do you get service?
You certainly would get service.
You go. Oh, God. Oh, I walked into that
Wearing
one.
shoes and a shirt.
Line them up and knock them down.
Okay. I always like hearing White Christmas because I always think of Bing Crosby at Christmas time.
Who?
Oh, Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Der Bingle, Harry Lillis Crosby.
They're showing that movie White Christmas on
What?
AMC right now.
They are.
Right now.
And it's a great movie except for one racist scene in it
Oh no.
when they celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday in blackface.
Oh,
Terrible.
I missed that part.
I know.
I was only gonna have
They should edit that out. Other than that, it's a very cheerful, beautiful
Black Christmas.
And that is the movie that song came from. And during World War II, the soldiers heard that song and they were reminded of home.
They want to go home.
They wanted to go home. But even the German soldiers heard that song coming from Air Force Radio and they became big fans of Bing Crosby. They called him Der Bingle. Der Bingle. And about the time I was born was about the time the 33 1/3 record was born. Tells you how old I am.
Oh.
Before then, they had 78s. And before that, I guess, wax cylinders. And so they put, right, so they put White Christmas and several other Bing Crosby songs on one of the early albums. And it had White Christmas, but it also had Melikilikimaka Mucka is a wise way to say Merry Christmas to you. And also, oh, the holly green, the ivy green, the prettiest picture you've ever seen. It's Christmas in Killarney with all of the folks at home. It's one of my favorites too. Well, this is almost New Year's, and since I guess this is the last open mic for the year.
Yep.
I'm doing this New Year's sort of poem here. It's called New Era. It's time for a new calendar in the year 14. We celebrated a year early when the millennium began. So next time, next century, we'll get it right for once. 2001 will be the year 1 of the new era, NE. The year before will still be the year 2000, but OE. Or we could keep the historian's common era, CE. Christians could still reckon by Anno Domini, as the Jews would go on numbering their years as always, and the Chinese could keep on through their zodiac. But the common system would count from NE1. BC and AD were miscalculated by church fathers whole centuries after the life of Christ the Nazarene. Whenever we set the beginning of an era, it will be arbitrary, so we might as well reset back to 1 right about now. Just think of how much easier Roman numerals will be, for a few years anyway. That's reason enough to do it, don't you think? Thank you. Gotta start something right at home. Get people.
All right, Louise, thank you. She's so smart. Scott, come on up here.
A lot of our time, and as a preface, I think one of the most difficult things about Christmas is there's a part of us to varying degrees that wants to pretend like it's not Christmas and it's just an average ordinary day. And so we can get carried away on the wave of accepting it is Christmas and trying to find the universal in something that's so contextually astronomical. But given all that, it's not surprising that this time of year we think a lot about our youth. When we were wide-eyed and empty-headed. What does it mean to be a young person?
Too late for us.
What's it mean to be wide-eyed and empty-headed? And even more importantly, how come you think you can't be that way now? To a child or to a young person, everything they see, every book, every block, every Lego, every tablespoon is something to play with. They look at a heap of mashed potatoes and they see it as something that should be a mountain, so they change it. A child's life is filled with easiness because a child plays with everything. Your attention, your patience, your tolerance. So let's make something tonight of our own minds. Let's make toys of our brains, toys of our thoughts, toys of our ideas. So tomorrow morning we'll have something to play with. Last night we played and played and played and played and played. So tonight we're playing too. And it's nice to know the children are outside giggling and laughing on their own little playgrounds. it's also nice to know there are people in the parking lot that I just saw a little while ago hugging like you wouldn't believe about how I hadn't seen you in a long time. I'm glad to see you again. That's a really cool thought. I don't know why we stopped doing that, but I like to do it with anybody I meet. Thanks.
I was listening loudly. Did you hear me that time? And gears turning. I need some WD-40 here. David Lester Young, would you like to come back up here?
I remember when things were simple. I'd have one or two poems started. Now I go into days with about 20 or 30 started. And I'm going to do one that I started and I'm still working on. True grit stature. Must one have to bend so much that one snaps to someone's attention, that one must conform to edict dictation, cloning words within strict compliance? Poetry's free spirit is not a right for dictators, but what is left for thinkers to wander free past, where they find their individual trails less taken, expounding true grit characters in free will diversity. Poetry has no master, being this free-spirited offering, where each poet has a unique persona composition, composting characters with pronounced vocal vocabulary, compounding the mastery of verse in dynamic literature. Trailing impressions. Wandering woe adrift the countryside. One walks alone, listless, in wandering mire, while admiring the coarse and certain terrain, to weather this gravity among footprints wake, that bears down upon individual grains of time. Occurrences where we can compose granular composition that cast component values upon true grit conviction, bearing indelible fiber friction stain in reigning word power, bearing iron will elocution which permeates purpose in existence within sentences, that builds a unique stellar foundation set up within one's own inner strength with reinforced concrete pillars. We exist to write these trailing past of real life past experiences, choosing different paths to explore evolving impression, where we can then handprint depressions inside a verse that rises and falls, with changing expectation, wherein tranquil moments, heartbeats find its rhythmic peace in a spirit sharing poetic harmony, wherein a love melody one might become complacent at certain times within our lives. But positive turbulence boils undercurrents festering negativity. That poets are insightful spectrums of dynamic character assimilation, that they play this lifelong role model upon the drama and comedy stage banner of laughter that faces tragedy. We're in divergent trails. Just by off my laughter. One will lead upon those thorns bearing the broken shards of love, where within one will fall into the pits of utter despair, so deep down one may cry forevermore. Arise, invested poets, to be fully inspired, riding high in great height, where spirits exist in suspension, within the levitation of realization, knowing what one must have survived the poetic PTSD, manic depression, to then have realized all the full-blown dimensions of decompression, compression, polar opposites, upon the confessional expression, has showed the living soul sharing poetic imperfection. That as we age, the backpack we carry may have excessive baggage, whereupon a fork in our path, certain decisions will have to be made, where one observes their surrounding environment to analyze what it lies ahead, then decide, discard those things that may burden your journey, that lays within their final destiny voyage, sailing on to their gravestone ending, that one must record beforehand our trailing impression. Thank you.
Okay, here's a fun one.
Yeah.
Fun one. I like fun.
Jingle Bell Rock.
Right. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yes, it is rock and roll. Someone wrote these chords wrong. Must have been me. That's it. It's not C7, it's C6.
Yeah.
Okay. So it goes. Jingle bell rock, jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing, a bush of some fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bells time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in the jingling beat. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells time and jingle bells time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in the jingle bell beat. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell rock. Woo! Oh, thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thom, the world poet, come up here and save me.
Okay, that does it.
That does it.
That does it. I'm gonna do the turkeys, the turkey for Christmas. You know, be nice to your turkey. So you can sing along, but you don't know the words, so it's even better. Okay, and this is by Benjamin Zephaniah. Benjamin Zephaniah is a dyslexic West Indian poet, lives in Birmingham, and he's one of the... Anyway, here we go. Talking turkeys. Be nice to your turkeys this Christmas, 'cause turkeys just want to have fun. Turkeys are cool, man. Turkeys are wicked, and every turkey has a mom. Be nice to your turkeys this Christmas. Don't eat it, keep it alive. It could be your mate and not on your plate. Say, yo turkey, I'm on your side. I got lots of friends who are turkeys, and all of them fear Christmas time. They want to enjoy it. They say humans destroyed it and humans are out of their mind. Yeah, I got lots of friends who are turkeys. They all have a right to a life, not to be caged up, genetically made up by any old farmer and his wife. Because turkeys just want to play reggae. Turkeys just want to hip-hop. Can you imagine a nice young turkey saying, "Oh, I cannot wait for the chop"? Turkeys like getting presents. They want to watch Christmas TV. Turkeys have brains, and turkeys feel pain in many ways, like you and like me. So be nice to your turkeys this Christmas. Invite them indoors for some greens. Let them eat cake, and let them partake in a plate of organic grown beans. Be nice to your turkeys this Christmas, and spare them the cut of the knife. Join Turkeys United, and I'll be delighted, and you'll make new friends for life. Thank you very much. And that's the main course, and here's the vegetables that go with it as well.
Okay.
I used to be a meat eater, eat everything that moved, until one day I saw the way the blood came dripping through. Now I eat only vegetables, eat nothing that has parents, until today I realize vegetables have rights. That broccoli don't like the knife, how dare you grate that carrot? And aubergines and courgettes too, and cut up little marrows. I'm sure tomatoes feel the pain when sliced inside your kitchen. It's hard to think a lettuce has a brain, but how do you think it grew then? Did vegetables come from the cabbage patch, like dolls bought by the stalk? Or are they points of consciousness that can't be sold or bought? I know it makes a Macaban's life to sell them for a profit, but think of fruit and vegetables and what they want and ain't got. They'd like to drive a Ferrari, or maybe a hot that Porsche. They're hot and sweaty in some old Russian borscht. Hey, so think of fruit and vegetables next time you cut and chew them. Inside each stew they sing to you for veggie liberation. Freedom for the fruit, victory for the vegetables, victory for the fruit, victory for the vegetables.
All right, Louise, come back up here, please.
Hey, Louise, yes.
You know, they say when Charles Dickens was a child, he was a cute little Dickens.
What the Dickens?
What the Dickens? This is from A Christmas Carol. This is Christmas present circa 1840. For the people who were shoveling away on the housetops were jovial and full of glee, calling out to one another from the parapets, and now and then exchanging a facetious snowball, better-natured missile far than many a wordy jest, laughing heartily as it went right, and not less heartily if it went wrong. The poulterers' shops were still half open, and the fruiterers were radiant in their glory. There were great round pot-bellied baskets of chestnuts, shaped like waistcoats, of jolly old gentlemen lolling at the doors and tumbling out into the street in their apoplectic opulence. There were ruddy, brown-faced, broad-girthed Spanish onions, shining in the fatness of their growth like Spanish friars, and winking from their shelves in wanton slyness at the girls as they went by, and glanced demurely at the hung-up mistletoe. There were pears and apples clustered high in blooming pyramids. There were bunches of grapes made in the shopkeeper's benevolence to dangle from conspicuous hooks, that people's mouths might water gratis as they passed. There were piles of filberts, mossy and brown, recalling in their fragrance ancient walks among the woods, and pleasant shufflings ankle-deep through withered leaves. There were Norfolk biffins, squat and swarthy, setting off the yellow of the oranges and lemons, and in the great compactness of their juicy persons, urgently entreating and beseeching to be carried home in paper bags and eaten after dinner. The very gold and silver fish set forth among these choice fruits in a bowl, though members of a dull and stagnant-blooded race appeared to know that there was something going on, and to a fish went gasping round and round their little world in slow and passionless excitement. The grocers, oh, the grocers, nearly closed, with perhaps 2 shutters down or 1, but through those gaps such glimpses. It was not alone. that the scales descending on the counter made a merry sound, or that the twine and roller parted company so briskly, or that the canisters were rattled up and down like juggling tricks, or even the blended scents of tea and coffee were so grateful to the nose, or even that the raisins were so plentiful and rare. The almonds so extremely white, the sticks of cinnamon so long and straight, and the other spices so delicious, the candied fruits so caked and spotted with molten sugar as to make the coldest lookers-on feel faint and subsequently bilious. Nor was it that the figs were moist and pulpy, or the French plums blushed in modest tartness from their highly decorated boxes, or that everything was good to eat and in its Christmas dress, but the customers were all so hurried and so eager in the hopeful promise of the day that they tumbled up against each other at the door, crashing their wicker baskets wildly, and left their purchases upon the counter, and came running back to fetch them, and committed hundreds of the like mistakes in the best humor possible, while the grocer and his people were so frank and fresh that the polished hearts with which they fastened their aprons behind might have been their own, worn outside for general inspection and for Christmas daws to peck at if they chose. Thank you. Daws are like crows. Yeah. Jackdaws.
Thank you, Louise. David Lester Young, would you like to come back up?
How many ways can I create the static? Let me count the ways. Country Christmas cheer. Feel the country spirit of the holidays. Greet you home in home cooking aromas. That country smell having family feelings. Fond being home for Christmas. Leave cities busy interstates behind. Highways turning into quiet country lanes. Where neighbors wave at you passing by, where things unwind for the holiday. Country charm walks down countryside lanes, quill fresh air feathers those December chills. Hearts cuddle a light smiling season's greeting, in country Christmas cheer, Christian blessing. Merry Christmas from the country hearth of love. Within the wealth of God bless America's salutation, that wealth inside a country's blessed Christmas spirit, inviting family home for a country presence, blessed in a divine peace and tranquility. Perfect rose blossom. One stands as his poet before you, upon the stage that evolves full of life, where words flowing with convictions in a world full of changing contradictions. Personas strive for stages of pure perfection. They seek success as an individual validation, while failure builds up characters in imperfection that uses building blocks for personal redemption. Poets are the most perfect rose within this flaw, where poetry is like Swiss cheese holy, to fall into when one person follows along trails of thoughts, another sees this quagmire path of poetic shards. Most poets are the devil's advocate, not of evil, but making readers open minds on trails less taken, where narrow minds become broad-minded liberal, in that they then perceive things from all angles. Poets are not dire dictators, but mental motivators. They teach the wide diversity of the human language, where individual independence can then be attained, when each reader becomes that perfect rose blossom. For only then can the poet wilt on the years full of tears, being pressed as a departing rose inside a Bible verse closed pages. Thank you.
All right, Scott. This was all part of my master plan to group the musicians together. So, thank you so much. Yeah, keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, keep me on balance.
Away from mine.
I mentioned earlier that I might get back to something. Because Christmas is it's very easy to get lost in love during Christmas. So this is either going to end up being a sad song or a song about hope and generosity, but there are so many things that point to selfishness during Christmas. What am I going to get? What am I going to give somebody? How's the year going to turn out for me? The deeper lesson, and I think the one that goes back further, if you don't look at Christmas as a holiday about the birth of Christ, or Christmas as a holiday about something that happens during the dark times in our life. If you take Christmas as an analogy for a day in the life of a lonely person, it's easy during this time of year to forget that there are people in the world who don't have anybody that loves them or they love. This is about those guys. When things get really dark, and it's easy to get really dark when all around you see Christmas lights on houses and people singing and people making merry, and all the places are filled with laughter and joy by all those people who have things. They have this or they have that. And for those of us who do have such things, it's a time to take some inner, to take stock and connect to that part that's inside us, that's also inside them. Because in the middle of the human soul, every human soul, there's an emptiness that wants to be filled, and yet the beautiful Taoist mystery is that out of that same emptiness flows inordinate amounts of love. So when you're praying over your Christmas turkey, or find yourself the day after Christmas happy about what you got, allow yourself to find that middle ground in between you and everything else. Radiate from out of that toward those people who are alone. Because they may not hear our prayers and they may not hear our songs, but we can connect to the lonely in other people by finding the lonely in ourselves.
Oh, she disappeared. She disappeared. Oh, there she is. Well, I told you, I didn't know where it was going.
Okay, so I have one more Christmas song left, and I'm going to save that for the big finish so everyone can sing that along with me. I got one that has to do with mistletoe, so I guess it can kind of fall into the Christmas category. I'm just going to go ahead and play that. I just wanted to say something about what Scott was talking about. Now, if you've never had the pleasure of being homeless on Christmas, you will never know the generosity of people out there. And I was once, and I lived in these, but it was actually quite all right. I lived in these beautiful redwood trees and would go play music on the street near the beach, and I had a good time. But I woke up on Christmas Day and had no money, nothing. And I was walking down, and I was going to go play some music and get myself some breakfast, and I found $1 on the ground. And I was so happy. Ooh, I'd get a bag of chips for breakfast, you know? And so I went in the store, and I found my $1 bag of chips, and I went down, and I went to pay for it. and that $1 was half a dollar, which won't get you a bag of chips or a stick of gum or anything. And then I was so disappointed. And there was this lady behind me in line, and she just handed me $10. So not only did I get my bag of chips, but I got some coffee, and I got some chips for my friend and some coffee for my friend. And then we ran into a friend of mine who was on this crazy mission for propane and had no one to drive them. And so then my boyfriend, the father of my child, he went, and we went on this crazy wild ride through the redwoods and got propane and had Christmas dinner, and we passed on our good deed to the next person. And it was really the most interesting Christmas I've ever had. So, I mean, it'll really teach you perspective. I think everyone should be homeless at least once in their life, just so they can appreciate what they have when they do have it and appreciate other people. And you never know what kind of people you meet. That lady was wonderful. The truth is dangerous. Okay, so this one is by Duke Ellington.
Oh, wow.
Never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I begin to see that light. And never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. But now that you got the lamp down low, I begin to see that light. Used to ramble in the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark that's poured on fire. Now, I never made love by lamp and shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm getting to see that light. Dun, dun, yeah, yeah, dun, 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 do, 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 dun, dun, yeah, yeah, dun, dun, do, 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 do. Used to ramble in the park, shadow boxing in the dark, oh yeah. And caused a spark that's full on fire. Now, I never made love by lamp and shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see that light. Oh yeah. That is a happy one. I like that one. I like Thom the World Poet very much. Why don't you come on up here?
So we got 6 more days before Christmas Day. We got 13 days before the end of the world. I mean the end of the year. And got your attention then, didn't it? But anyway, so I sent a poem out releasing this year and welcoming in next year prematurely. I got 2 responses. This is my friend Ed Seymour, who's up in Portland, Oregon, and one from Alex, my friend of many years. 2013 serves as a booster rocket for 2014. The energy expended during this year 2013 provides the push to propel us in the wonder that will be 2014. Energy exerted this year will serve us well in the start of a fresh new year with new potentials. Clearly that moon observed provides light when the sun is shining on the other side. We need to adjust our habits to accommodate the cycle. Opportunity will knock, but will we answer? Will we? All questions are rhetorical. And Alex said, at the end of each year, we dream of a bigger, better next year. Remember the millennium when chaos was supposed to ensue? Computers crashing to digital disasters, but the sun came up on just another day. Now it's 5th dimensional consciousness and future escapes into a brighter light of transcendental new dawn. If that's the truth of it, I am happy. But if it isn't, I won't be too disappointed because the sun will still come up again tomorrow. Love will still be at the heart of all things. My friends will still be my friends. The moon will still thrill me, and the waves will still soothe me. I wish each of us a happy 2014, and whatever it brings, let's make the best of it.
Okay.
It happened so quickly, didn't it?
And so,
Yeah.
Louise.
Louise, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, last night at Maria's Taco Express, at the end of the show, we all got together and sang Auld Lang Syne.
Oh, good.
And I was reminded of Alan Sherman's parody of that song. I know a man, his name is Lang, and he has a neon sign. And Mr. Lang is very old, so we call it Auld Lang Syne. Well, there are Christmas songs that everyone likes to sing, you know, and then there are people who don't like to hear Christmas songs, but there are certain ones, the songs about longing and for wanting to be home among your loved ones that are very popular, even among those who don't like, you know, Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light beams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. May your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. New Year's Eve, we all will be together, if the fates allow. So hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Merry Christmas, Louise. That was beautiful. Scott? I'm going to keep you on your toes. Back to the original rotation. I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, I got you. Oh, it's beautiful.
Since I brought everybody down, I didn't mean to bring everybody on, but thanks for sharing your story, because I think we sort of see what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am listening.
You are, I know.
Very
I'm
loudly.
happy actually
Very
to be in the
loudly.
same room on that one. That's good.
Scott. That sounded beautiful. David Lester Young, would you like to come up here again? Benjamin Franklin's doppelganger. Debonair, fellow wit, invested poet.
Reminds me, I gotta get some more vests so I can be more invested for next year. We need to also talk about the Driscoll sometime. And, well, that's what we'll talk later. During Christmas time, a lot of people don't dwell in the past. I kind of dwell in the past, future, and present, and everywhere, to and fro. And I dwell in my negativity, my positivity, and trying to make sense in my neutrality. Swinging back in time. Swinging back and forth, the drift thought processes. Shifting back, a lot of memories that share past tenses. Free swing rooted inside youth. It is being reprocessed, swaying into and fro reflection upon swinging senses. City resident coming back home to quill within interior dwellings, where countryside serene mellow moods bear warm serenity. Fluttering a light breeze and wildflower meadow balm, in swelling tranquil heartbeats remembering that pleasant childhood amenity. Innocence smile brings back jovial time, cavorting barefoot free, meandering beside a creek where trees swing a driftful sound. Fantasy free, splashing feet over embankment chair, daydreaming glee. To look around, then trip quick to skinny dip with the dashing bound. Heartbeats swinging in sync to merge mellow inside rhythmic rhyme. When souls congeal to tan warm inside countryside harmony radiance. Expelling aging negativity within tranquil, revitalized medicinal timing that reincarnates memories that will swing forever in resonance. Shakespearean seduction. Shakespearean drama does embroil words, scorn inside lovers' thorns, among twisted sagas of intertwining desire, where lust sets verse on fire. Hypnotic sense in reflection incensed by sonnet cadences, bearing arousing words in rhythmic poetic pattern that resonates in histrionic personification. Poetry's aura of forevermore set adrift in literature's PowerPoint stage presence, in sensual vibrations of meter and rhyme, singing aloft woven weaved verses, in stanzas that beguile love's mystery, in feminine love me not, that meanders the bed spring pleasure of to and fro metrical movements. Oh, the woe in the woman's moans that weathers a man's groaning transgression within the alabaster white ivory soft breast of Shakespearean seduction. Satirical tragedy of vices and follies in masculine and feminine fantasies that bemoans the groans in bewitching laisms of puritanical partaking, that from the beginning roots of the poetic English language, Shakespeare did stimulate the strength of romantic rhyme. Among enticing romance theatrics, that verse that has endured the wrath of time, in the swath bearing the poetic rhyme, where love has formed literature's epic climaxes upon the lip movement's sensual sway. To be or not to be a poet, that is the question. We're on the world's a poetic stage, that you are a lover of poetry's to borrow Cupid's wings, What in a name if thou had not loved Shakespearean verse? Who taught thee how to make me love thee more? To move the mastery of literature and verse in Shakespearean seduction. Thank you.
Oh, let's sing. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna do this one a cappella. And everyone ought to know this. And it's a "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" on behalf of everyone here at Freddy's and me and all of you guys. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So here we go. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us a figgy pudding, oh, bring us a figgy pudding, oh, bring us a figgy pudding, and bring... Oh, and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it out here. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I need a hand clapper. Tommy had last time. I know, I didn't bring it in, so even green. I know. I got antibiotics, so it's okay. Oh, Tom. You want to come up and finish this segment off?
Sure.
Okay, so Tom is going to come up here and do the grand finale for the poetry and storytelling segment of this evening. And then we're going to transition into music. We have Margie Allen here. She writes her own songs, and she also knows some wonderful Christmas songs, and she's going to come entertain us in just a bit.
Excellent.
So here you go, Tom.
And Scott.
One's for Christmas and one's for New Year, and the first one is Happy Christmas, War is Over, John Lennon. Yoko Ono. Ready? You can join in. Very good. And so this is Christmas.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
Just do what you like. We always do. And what have you done? Another year over and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. And so this is Christmas for weak and for strong, for rich and for poor ones. The world is so wrong. And so happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fight. And so this is Christmas. And what have we done? Another year over, a new one just begun. And so happy Christmas. We hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. War is over if you want it. War is over now. Here's one you haven't heard. It's the Parting Glass, which is our farewell one. So it goes like this. Of all the money that e'er I spent it in good company. And all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me this parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I've had, are sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I've had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all.
All right, thank you so much, Tom and Scott, Louise, Benjamin Franklin, also known as David Lester Young. all the poets, thank you so much for coming in. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.